That was some great active scouting, if I do so say myself, Rookhill. Welcome back to WGLNA, where we're done with 2 of our 5 matches, and match number 3 between Fulcrum and Bear Huggers is about to begin. Now, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to get into that series immediately. Ruenberg can have slow games, but we're just in time for our face-off between Nagatron and Frizzle, but we're going to bring that to you up in just a second. But real quick, let's go ahead and talk about these 2 teams, Randall.
Yeah, so Fulcrum has definitely shown that they're one of the top teams in North America right now. So just to point out who the roster is, we've got Nagatron is the team leader, followed up by Friction is his number 2 guy. Soviet, Hugo Maximus, Relics, Xerox, Absolute Royal, Jackie Rudo, FML Rommel, and Antonio Handsome.
Yep.
So,
all great guys.
Oh, definitely
all very
great players.
personable people. And I've had the pleasure of interacting with almost everybody, except for a couple of those people. Fulcrum takes themselves very seriously, and they make themselves known. I also want to let you guys know that Fulcrum Gaming also released their website, I think yesterday or the day before.
I got a link to it yesterday. Okay. I don't know if it was the day before, but it was like, what was it?
Fulcrumgaming.gg.
Yeah, I didn't realize you could get .gg. Yeah. I did not realize that. What is that?
It's a new domain that a lot of teams are using in esports. So if you check it out, fulcrumgaming.gg, or if not, they're probably correcting me in chat 10 minutes later. So definitely check it out, as Fulcrum wants to push themselves out onto the scene, and they've been doing really well. They're been established as the USA's best team. They placed 3rd at WCG last year, and of course they're gunning for the #1 spot this year. That's going to take place in November in China.
Yeah, I definitely think they have a chance. They are so professional.
Yep, they're very good, and their tank talks are phenomenal. But, of course, we also have another team. It's the Bear Huggers. We don't know too much about them, except that yesterday they did struggle a little bit. Let's go ahead and break down the roster, Randall.
Yeah, so Frizzled is the team captain, and then Static, Lestat 6, Colonel Angus, Roy, Getty, BDL 1000, Big Daddy, Rodney Dangerfield, and Bonzoid. I have to point out, BDL is a great player. He is actually a fantastic tanker.
He named himself after. Well, wait, what does BDL stand for?
I've never asked.
Oh, okay.
I've just always called him BDL, and he's just a really good tanker. I've played with him in tournaments before, and I've also played with Frizzled before and Roy. Frizzled and Roy aren't quite as amazing as I'd say BDL is. BDL is one of those tankers that if he was given all the time in the world to practice, he'd be amazing. He'd just blow everyone away. I feel like.
I start to realize there's a lot of people like that in esports, Randall, if they're given infinite time to practice.
Well, I'm just saying next to a lot of other players.
If I was given infinite time of practice, I would be the best scout in North America.
No way.
Okay, so
You're saying that I just lack the talent, don't you, Rude?
I don't know if you have the drive.
I have infinite time.
The time doesn't mean anything.
Get around to it, right?
What if you just procrastinate the whole time?
You know me a little too
well. You still have
well.
infinite time.
That's right.
If
you hear that?
Okay,
on my
if it's
side.
.00001, if it's .0001, and then that's repeated, how many zeros are there to every one?
You know, I think you've got me here.
It's the same amount. It's infinite.
It's infinite.
I'm wrong.
Thank you very much.
And you're right,
for your
Andre.
support.
Thank you.
I got
you. The reason why I was really confused early on about BDL
fan club.
That's right. You can be the president of that too. I was really just confused because BDL is also a very popular basketball blog. It's called Ball Don't Lie. So I wasn't sure if maybe he was a big fan of that as well. It'd be a good connection.
Maybe you could ask him.
Also, I misread that with my dyslexic eye. That I thought it said BL 1000, kind of like the BL 10, and it's like the BL 1000. Can you imagine how good that would be?
How big would that gun be?
On the IS-3.
How big?
It'd be bigger than the IS-3.
Would it shoot IS-3s?
An IS-3 that shoots IS-3s.
That shoot BL9
Wargaming,
shells.
please.
Here's
That'd
an
be
idea.
a funny mod.
Maybe it could fight the rat. I know they have it in the game.
You know how in League of Legends they have like reverse skins? Maybe that's kind of it. It is like a reverse skin, like a turret that shoots an IS-3.
That would be so cool to watch.
Yeah.
I want to see that. I want to see Wargaming make that. Please Wargaming.
Maybe a tank skin that shoots. It's like it's a bullet, but it actually shoots tanks instead. That's all really fun. I think the face-off, we're still trying to get Nagatron and Frizzled on the line. But until then, let's go ahead and even talk to Greetorb about it. Andre, do you have any predictions for the map, or match rather? And what do you think Bear Huggers needs to do? Because I'm pretty sure you're going to pick Fulcrum. What do you think they need to do to be able to fight against Fulcrum? Because you've had the pleasure of playing with some of those guys before, and you know their styles.
Definitely so. Honestly, it's going to be very difficult. Fulcrum is definitely one of those teams that have every not every, but most situations mapped out. That means they go into their strategy, and then they simulate exactly what they can be up against. That's going to be something that's hard to deal with. So One way you can deal with them is maybe think of something out of the box that Fulcrum might not be anticipating, but the amount and the level to which they're studying and preparing is probably the best in the business, or one of the best in the business. So it's going to be tough. To be honest, I'm kind of flabbergasted. I don't know what Bear Huggers can do to really take over in this match.
Fulcrum is not infallible, though. They have dropped recent series in some tournaments, whether it was to Simp or even to wreak havoc. They're not incapable of losing games. And part of the reason why, and this is what Rukil said, so Nagatron, please don't hate me, is that some players on Fulcrum are a little bit predictable. They like to do things very systematically, and it's very based on practice routine. After 1.5 minutes, maybe they rotate from bush A1 into D7, and they kind of go from there. But that's also due to their diligent practice. Yeah. Maybe Bear Huggers can take advantage of that.
Yeah, it's doing the best things all the time. Sometimes can make you too predictable, and it's easy to counter if you do the best practices all the time. There are other practices that are still really good, and I'm not trying to say that Fulcrum is predictable and absolutely,
That's not what I heard backstage.
I don't know,
it's
man.
like, yeah, this one time I just totally killed this guy from Fulcrum. Yeah, this other time, yeah.
I don't remember that.
Well, keep in mind, guys, yesterday we saw Fulcrum play against Turtle Police, and how they lost in that, one of their maps was indecisiveness. Fulcrum is definitely, if they want to pick something up from Irmgard Kernavern, it's definitely that ability to be decisive and be very reactive in a timely manner. And that's something potentially Bear Huggers can take advantage of if they saw yesterday's games, which I'm sure they did.
That's something also about World of Tanks as well, because in the end there is that element where upsets can happen. Yep. Even the best team, at the time they were called the Red Rush, they lost to Gratium, and I watched those games, and granted, I did feel like there was a momentary indecision as well from Rush, but still, the best teams can fall on any given night, and that's why we're trying to have these competitions, to give teams like Bear Huggers the opportunity to potentially get their name on the map by beating a team like Fulcrum.
Yep. Good practice can get you very, very far in World of Tanks. That is just it.
How often does the average World of Tanks pro practice a day, Brandon?
It really depends. There have been times when I've spent my entire day practicing. It's just been all day, and then I just have to take a break eventually,
That's still a vague answer, Randy.
Oh, hours, 5, 6, 7.
I said, how many hours a day?
12.
Sometimes it's all day.
I think I've done a 12-hour day of practice. Wasted millions of credits, even sold a tank just so I could practice more.
Ooh, all right. Well, that is dedication.
There you
Let's see if Bear Huggers has the determination and the skill to take out Fulcrum. Let's take a quick commercial break as we get ready for our match number 3. You're watching WGL. We'll be right back.
Are you ready? Welcome to the Wargaming.net League North America World of Tanks.
Oh my God!
It is time for North America to answer the call of esports. This could be it. 5 seconds left to go.
I think we said
They got it at the last second. An amazing play. This is just a taste of what's to come. He's trying to turn it around.
Big shots going down all over the place.
Oh my
the shot.
Welcome back, everybody, to WGL. So the good news is that the match is ready, but the bad news is that we don't have the face-off prepared. But that's okay, because we're just going to go straight into the game very soon. The first map will be Himmelsdorf, and we did have who I believe Bear Huggers chose the north side, and Fulcrum chose the south side. Welcome to Himmelsdorf, and the north side we have the red team. One of the most established pro gaming teams in World of Tank esports scene. It is Fulcrum. In the south, we have the blue team. They're 0-1 in the current standings, but maybe they can make it different by defeating one of the best teams in WGL. It's Bear Huggers. Greetorp's already drawing lots of arrows and circles. What's going on there, Andre?
North side is taking the west side, which I think is, well, I prefer it the most. You just get a lot of good spots on everything that's going down there, and it gives you a lot of aggressive options. Normally when we see the west side being taken like this, you always have some sort of trigger over here all the way. Wait, I'll get it. There we go. Apparently my finger is not being registered. I'm not a real person.
That's all right, Andre. We'll check in with you in a little bit. We can talk about what's happening already. Absolute Royal finished out a full clip on Lestat on the 110. did manage to connect once for a little bit under 200 damage, or a little bit over 200 damage. Absolute Royal still laying down shots and does get another pen on Lestat. You can't keep trading this HP like that, even though Absolute Royal is burning through a lot of ammo.
Yeah, well, he's not going to run out anytime soon. And, I mean, it's not like he's going to throw it all away. And
Right.
those were actually very good shots out of Absolute. It's very hard to pen a 110 from the front, especially at that range, and especially with heat rounds, with the way they've been changed. If they hit the wrong angle, I mean, you're going to have a bad time. They just do not perform like they used to. 300 pen heat shells they're not quite as amazingly effective. So I'm worried that the T-69 isn't going to be able to do great damage. It looks like, is that one pen that went into his turret?
Yes. It seems one has hit slightly right to the turret. Another one looks like a ricochet, at least off the top. So he did avoid some damage in that regard. But is that any critical module damage? Just hitting
That
the front?
could be his commander.
Oh.
It could also be his ammo rack.
Well, that's
Nothing-
not very favorable damage module potential.
Well, there's a lot of stuff in a turret. I mean, if you look at the way tanks have been built, there's always some ammo sitting there in the turret. You've usually got a loader, the commander, and the gunner all somewhere inside that turret. So if something pens there, I mean, you could lose that. I mean, because the layouts of tanks in World of Tanks mirror that somewhat of tanks in real life. Most of the time, it's pretty accurate, and generally shooting a tank where a module was in real life will end up hitting it the same way in game.
Greetorp is pulling up the mini map, Andre. So did we get everything fixed over there?
Yeah, everything's everything's pretty stable right now. Nothing of much value has changed so far. As you can see, both teams are going over the west side. No real play on the hill, and as I was saying before, a lot of times you will see like double T1s on the hill over on the side of Fulcrum, but right now they're just trying to trade blows from very long distances.
Yep. From there, it's still a little bit of poking. Ooh, Nagatron takes a pretty big hit from Rodney Dangerfield, but it's not like Rodney, well, he's the one who's in danger, as there's a good pin from Nagatron and Absolute Royal. Another shot from Absolute Royal does not hit. Instead, it clears the fence. In fact, multiple shots hitting fence instead. Rodney is now fallen out of the detection range of Fulcrum.
Relix is going to try and back out here, get the spot, and go back in, so Nagatron doesn't have to get spotted here. But Nagatron is inching up, trying to get his shot, and it doesn't look like Rodney's there anymore. Rodney's probably behind the building to the south of it this time, not exposing himself anymore to get shot by T-69s. Do you actually see where Rodney escaped off to?
Yes, he's over back in K1, so he's fallen all the way back into a pretty strong defensive position. That's a nice spot for people to hug, and that's also, if you ever play artillery, if you ever see artillery nowadays, if it's on Himmelsdorf, usually they stack around K1. That's where you can be pretty effective, at least, compared to over in the
Rodney
city.
does get lit here. Nagatron's lining up a shell. He teases target.
Ooh, he's tracked,
Ooh.
and that means
not
he's going to
able
eat a lot of
connect.
shells.
There he goes.
One more shot.
124 health. He
Ugh.
does manage to escape, but again,
Barely.
that's just going to put Rodney in a very awkward position because he's almost one shot guaranteed other than the T1 from dying.
That is not good. That is so bad for Bear Huggers right now. They have a tank that is a one-shot, could even be finished off by a lucky T1. So at this point, I'm feeling like we're going to see a push out of Fulcrum or some kind of increased pressure. They know they've got a little bit of health to lose, a little health to trade, because they do have that lead. They can be a little bit more aggressive, and maybe Rodney will peek out, you know.
But
and
how can he do that? Because Benzoid is also pinned by Nagatron, as he did take a little bit of damage as well. And all of a sudden, Fulcrum, if you kind of look at the scoreboard, has a pretty big hit point advantage. And now they're starting to stack along the two line and pushing down slowly, headed by Hugo Maximus and backed up by Absolute Royal.
And here's Rodney. He's stuck out again. Is he going to go down?
I think so. The shot does land. Hugo Maximus gets the penetration. Rodney Dangerfield is no more, or at least for this battle. Bonzoid still again taking shots from Nagatron and getting cover or giving cover fire for Hugo and Absolute Royal to move in, and that's going to let Fulcrum set up really nicely for this complete dissection of the formation of Bear Huggers.
Hugo will go left, Absolute going right, so Bonzoid has to turn his turret. He does fire. Oh, but there's a nice shot out of Absolute. He does snake it through the buildings, and I'd want to know who he hit. It looks like he hit Colonel Angus That is a nice shot right there.
That's
and
right.
ooh, Hugo is going to take a few hits. He's down to 597. Bonzoid looks like he's going to try and get the kill on Hugo. He's reverse angling back, but Absolute.
Good
nice.
shot from Absolute to finish off. And Hugo Maximus was setting up really nice angles overall. And now all of the remaining threatening members of Bear Huggers has been exposed as Colonel Angus, Roy, and Lestat are stacked. Very convenient for a friction Soviet flank with 2 French autoloaders as they have 12 bullets aimed at the Bear Huggers army.
Yep, they are spotted by proxy. Colonel Angus is turning his attention to them, but Friction's just going to go around and take the hits. Colonel Angus down to 337, 81, and he's down.
As right now, Fulcrum is just synchronizing their shots. The last 2 potential threats from Bear Huggers now sit over in H3 as, well, Fulcrum's just going to completely pincer and execute their opponents. Roy, the last standing member from Bear Huggers, will fall in just a second. Look at how quick the firing line is able to shoot down their opponents as Fulcrum Gaming takes battle number 1 in Himmelsdorf.
That was impressive.
Man, that was like a firing squad from the British armies back in historical days.
They-
boom, 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 boom.
They
1,
knew
2, 3,
exactly what
4.
they were doing. Wow.
Pretty well done.
That was pretty.
I saw that too, Rando.
yeah.
You're looking
I
at
was
that like, did you see that?
I'm like, that
yeah.
was pretty good. Fulcrum did a great job. T-69 caught out. They made sure to take him down, and the way they were moving up along the train tracks there, very, very effective
what
in
we
keeping the cover.
come to expect from the north side usually, to play that kind of position. And I really like the dynamic that Relics and Nagatron was able to enforce along with Hugo and Absolute. Very, very good squadron movement in that regards. Greetor, what are your thoughts on that match as well?
Well, it's really simple in my eyes. What was the plan for Bear Huggers? And you couldn't even see anything come to fruition. You didn't know what they were trying to accomplish. They're on the defensive for the entire game. That means you're playing Fulcrum's type of style. You're playing Fulcrum's game. And that's unfortunate because they know how to execute. And I have to say, when they were going down that 2 line, Bear Huggers didn't know it was coming. They didn't know until there was the first initial proxy scouts and of course the first engagement. And from there, you can't really do anything. Of course, getting your T-69 cut off and completely isolated is not going to help at all. But it comes down to Fulcrum having the better plan, having the aggressive stance, and they're able to take it with just a plan that works out really well.
I like the idea of picking a 110 on Himmelsdorf. I really feel like they weren't able to ever use it in a position where they're good. They were taking lots of free shots from Absolute Royal, being able to pick off early on, even Nagatron getting shots on Bonzoid over in Hotel 3. I think overall Fulcrum was able to nullify any advantage you usually get, because what's the whole point of shooting or having a 110 if you're not going to angle it from the front if they just keep taking side shots?
Yeah, it was just a poor use of a 110. It could have been used so much better. It's such a cool tank, and Bear Huggers is one of the first teams to actually use it, but they're not employing it correctly.
Well, we'll see what happens in battle number 2 when they have a chance to pick the map and the spawn positions. You're watching WGLNA. We'll be right back.
Going hull down means positioning your tank in such a way that your hull is behind cover and only your turret is exposed to enemy fire. This is an especially effective positional technique for drivers of American heavy tanks because of their excellent turret armor. The best spots for going hull down are behind broken walls and rocks, but the natural rolling landscape can also provide the necessary cover for a master tanker to go hull down and make a stand.
That's a different way you can get hull down as well. Thank you, Mr. Bitter, for that awesome tank tip. And it's just to help you guys get more accustomed to the battlefield, because we realize not everybody who's watching has played World Tanks before. By the way, welcome back to WGL. My name is Frode, and I'm joined on set by Rootkill, for those of you who may be tuning in a little bit more recent into the broadcast. We're also joined on the analyst desk by Andre Guitor Pengchua, who's been doing a good job illustrating. Andre, what do you think so far of the matches today?
A lot of very interesting, definitely a dynamic list of styles that we've seen so far. From Fulcrum to Emergo to Kernavern to even, Cunningham's. It's definitely a diverse and well put together lineup of teams for the WGL.
All right, well, thank you so much for that info. We're going to get ready into battle number 2 between Fulcrum and Bear Huggers. The map is Ruinberg, so let's go ahead and get ready for a game between Fulcrum and Bear Huggers. Welcome to Ruinberg, where we're going to see Fulcrum, the red team, spawn in the bottom half of the map, currently up 1-0. over the blue team, Bear Huggers, over in the north side, who's also kind of dispersing towards the eastern part of the map. Now keep in mind, Bear Huggers does get map choice and spawn side preference. And these look, I just want to see how they're able to play the north side of Ruinbird. Guito, can we break down what's going on in the opening movement patterns?
Looks like Fulcrum is really gunning it to the Delta Village, normally not seen coming out from the south side, but they are going and trying to contest this village. Normally you see the north side take it a lot faster because this distance is much, much closer than this distance. So we'll definitely take a look and see what happens, because this is kind of unconventional from Bear Huggers especially.
Well, Fulcrum will take the Delta Village, just like you said. Thank you so much, by the way, Andre, for that great introduction. Randall, what's your take on the whole? How is Bear Huggers going to be able to handle this entire spread? Are they expecting some kind of big cap fast, or are they just trying to react to their opponents when they see them?
I'm not sure Bear Huggers has really, I'm not sure about this strat that I'm seeing from Bear Huggers. It's really, really spread out, and they are just, they're putting it all on the ISU 152. He's at the center of the strat, so he has to turn himself around to face whichever way he's going to attack. You see right there, the ISU 152. He is just waiting for a shot. That's all they want. They just want him to get a shot. They have a T1 waiting out in the TIE fighter here. And they want someone to get spotted. I'm not sure anyone is going to get spotted. And Fulcrum has the advantage in any engagement right now because they'll be able to jump on a tank, finish it with superior firepower before enough guns can get on target. In the meantime, we see Friction here scouting around.
Friction trying to be an active scout seems just like we mentioned in the past couple of matches that we've seen AMX 1390s making more appearances on Ruinbird. You do kind of have that hybrid city/field map dynamic going on with the split. Now, Fulcrum is going to rotate around. Just like you said, they don't want to get hit by that ISU, because ISU, the alpha is absolutely insane. It's 750 average damage, which you can get upwards to 915 damage in a high roll. That's insane. Like, I mean, that combined with one shot from an IS-3 can instantly kill the AMX 1390 with 1100.
You can't survive after taking it like
high
that.
rolls, you're done.
Yeah, you're left so low. You just do not want to engage after that. ISU does that's the point of bringing this ISU. They want to make the alpha happen in the fight, and their whole setup is around. It's kind of strange. They got the two 110s, and I haven't been able to see what guns they're mounting. If they're mounting 122s, that means that what they want is they want a high alpha and a decent follow-up, but they're going to have a really large lull between their first and second shots, but they're going to try and supplement that with some 5100s. Fulcrum here, though, is moving up. I think they've decided that they're going to go and attack from the west. They don't want to attack from the east. They don't want to risk getting spotted out and an ISU shooting them like that. They want to take on an ISU where they can flank it in the city. Now, the fact that an ISU, tank destroyer, one direction, no turret, it's you
could
be hard
argue.
For it to maneuver it's been historically very difficult for tank destroyers to maneuver and combat effectively in cities, especially against strong teams that will maneuver constantly. If you're playing corner games, tank destroyer wins. But if you're playing high maneuverability, flanking, lots of motion kind of fights,
tank destroyer has no chance in that regard, especially if you just have two people pinned. Nice shots from Bonzoid to kill off relics, and that's going to shut down a little bit of Fulcrum's vision, actually a huge amount, considering that the only other scout from Fulcrum is Xerox over there into the field.
Don't forget about Friction. He is in the 1390.
The 1390, so that will still give him vision.
1390 makes for a great scout, and it's very mobile, which means that when it comes to fighting and we find this ISU, if they can get, think about what if they get Friction in the backfield.
And then able to completely flank and get some good shots.
Oh yeah, great shots. And it's very hard for the ISU to then turn all the way around.
Makes sense. Sounds legit. So I think that, with something maybe we could expect, but until Bear Huggers choose to move their IS-3s and 5100s out from the A line, I don't really expect too much traction in that regard. Fulcrum still just being very cautious of how they present themselves. Again, is the that huge alpha from the ISU can just completely shut down avenues. And like Randall said, it just takes one time to mess up. Although the ISU has an insane reload time. I think it's something almost 20 seconds. Fire rate's like 3.4 per minute.
I don't remember. I never looked that up because...
I looked it up right before
you
the
did?
match.
Oh, look at you.
Because Trouble was telling me. That's why I know so many stats offhand.
Oh, look at you.
I didn't actually think someone would pull out the ISU in the.
Traditionally, no one brings TDs. But some people are believing now with the changes in 8.6 that you can bring them. It's just we haven't seen them employed. Yeah, but we haven't seen them employed in actually a team win with a tank destroyer. I haven't actually seen a win.
Would the ISU be the tank destroyer to bring to a match, or is
I would have said the Jagdpanther too, because it's faster.
not the Hellcat? I like the Hellcat. It's my favorite tank.
It's a cool tank, but it's tier 6.
Its name is also the Hellcat, which is just like the most awesome cat.
It's an iconic American tank. It's just very cool. Unfortunately, in World of Tanks, it doesn't have very much health.
A Hellcat was on sale on some site. I think I don't think it was Amazon.
Was that on Reddit?
Equivalent.
I saw a link on Reddit to
yeah,
that.
and it was sold. It was like sold for like 400,000 or something.
Did it get
Or
sold?
was it 400? Maybe it was 40,000.
I think 400,000.
Either way, if you have some spare change, I'm starting up a Hellcat.
I would like to own a tank.
Can
that would be cool.
Can we cast from a Hellcat? That would be awesome.
I don't know. Seems like
I think that would make the set a little
would we
bit more
drive around with it,
appropriate
or would it be sitting still?
No. I mean, it would be sitting still. It's part of the set.
Oh, okay.
But we can dismantle it for parts and make the set look.
Yeah,
good.
dismantle a Hellcat.
Yeah.
Let's dismantle a tank.
Well, come on. It's already halfway there with no overhead hood, right? It's an open thing.
Point taken. Point taken. Yeah, I can see where we could go with
If I
this.
die, just have an open cast funeral with a Hellcat.
With a Hellcat?
Because it's
Well, that
you
might
can
be
just look straight
that
down.
might be expensive. Could we put you on a lull tractor?
No.
But
That dinky thing couldn't handle my massive, enormous
it's
body.
still stronger than a Pinewood Bob.
Let's put him in a Renault.
Slowly. Yeah, better than the FC-17, that's for sure. Sorry to get off track, guys. Of course, we're talking about this just because no actual movement has been set. 3 minutes left on this map, or on this match on Ruinberg.
Well,
I would like to see 7 Hellcats on Ruinberg.
That would be cool.
Though that strat is starting to come out more often, though.
What? More 7 Hellcats?
Yeah. It worked in the Russian league.
It worked once
And
in the
Trouble
Russian
said someone
league.
tried doing them against Ermagerd Kunnerver in the qualifiers.
Yeah, but did they win in the qualifiers?
Well, no, because
Well-
Ermagerd obviously qualified. So they didn't win.
Well, see, there you go.
But it's viable.
Viable or tried and attempted. I don't know. Statistically, not maybe viable. Andre would have the answer for that, though.
Yeah, I do have the answer. You have no way to actually make those assessments, Ruko.
I'm just assuming.
Thank you, Creed,
and
to
then
president
throwing
of my
it.
You
fan
have
club.
no way to actually conclude that
Well,
7
it's-
Hellcats is
And we have to interrupt this lover spat.
statistically incorrect.
I'm going to have to interrupt this lover spat to give you a breaking news update, as Fulcrum has moved over to the 1 line. Do want to remind people that, or let people know that Andre will come out with a stat segment coming up very soon, so
Yeah.
keep your eye peeled
For
for
those of
that.
you that don't know, I am statistician
Very good statistician.
back
I'd
in the
say.
day.
We'll see how it's going to pan out, because it could be greatly influenced by this match of Soviet and Nagatron starting to get the first shots, and they do get giddy. Some damage on the 110. Bonzoid taking heavy shots. Again,
Oh
every
my
angle,
God.
Hugo Maximus gets the last hit. There's only 20 health left on Bonzoid, and just like that, Fulcrum able to catch Bonzoid sleeping.
100% wombo combo right there.
Oh, on the other side of the map, 2 lights have been spotted. There's going to be a fight. Colonel Angus and Xerox. And there goes Colonel Angus. That's 8 points for Fulcrum.
That is 8-point advantage, and they can sit on that until 1:30. We haven't had to use the 8-point rule all day, which actually makes me a very happy broadcaster. Only 1 draw thus far.
Oh, we're going to see the ISU come into play now.
Is he coming in?
Roy's going to have to deal some massive damage. Again, Fulcrum up 8 points. They don't have to press forward if they don't want to.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to actually see Soviet and Nagatron pulling out. I believe also we've got Absolute Royal and Hugo. No, Hugo's going to stay behind, but Absolute does look like he's backing off a little bit.
Friction still staying at the forefront, trying to get some spots, and he gets them. In fact, he sees almost all members, and just like that, Rodney Dangerfield in combination. I believe Roy landed that shot. We'll have to check the actual damage report, but instantaneous kill from a 100% to a 0% health Friction.
That had to be a hit from
Yes,
the ISU.
that was definitely a hit. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
watching the ISU the whole time.
Thank you very much, Greetor, for that play-by-play. Soviet trying to move up closer into D3. All of a sudden, Fulcrum's advantage is nil. Although, it does manage to see... Oh, just kidding. I thought...
Getty in the
Getty-
110 has gone down. That's the 8-point lead again for Fulcrum.
Yeah.
And the pressure is on for Bear Huggers to actually make it.
27 seconds on the clock. Soviet has been revealed through proxy scouting. Big Daddy and Roy gonna roll around that ISU 152. Could almost finish off Soviet if he gets a high roll. If he gets a shot at all, Soviet is exposed. Roy does finish it off, but at the same time, Absolute Royal was able to capitalize on a rearrangement of Bear Huggers and finish off Rodney Dangerfield. Still an 8-point advantage for Fulcrum. 3 seconds on the clock. Roy cannot fire another shot because he is on the reload, and just like that, that, Fulcrum Gaming takes the map, and it goes up 2-0. Welcome to the Abbey as we take a quick look at the tank compositions. Not really too much difference, or variety rather, from Fulcrum, as they have 4 T-69s and the 1390. Meanwhile, we do have 2 heavies from Bear Huggers as they went for a couple of 5100s and a few T-69s.
That's an interesting lineup, I'd say. The 1390 makes a great mobile, highly mobile tank. The T-69s are decently mobile, and they'll have a great amount of burst damage, and then when they clip, it's only about 24 seconds, I believe, for their reload with the skills and such that they have.
All right,
so
well, that'll come into play, especially very soon. They might just have a full-on engagement. Fulcrum is the red team in the north side, heading over to that very coveted E2, F2 spot on the western valley, or the high road, as some people might say. Bear Huggers, the blue team in the south, trying to go, well, I guess the lower side of that high road. We'll call it the medium road.
And
Roy
Nagatron's actually
damage.
taking fire here. Who is he shooting at?
He's shooting, Nagatron was shooting at Roy, and he also got some damage on Big Daddy. Pretty big key players, but honestly, all members are really valuable because it's auto-loader heaven as Getty is going to commit on Nagatron. Nagatron, where are his battle buddies? They are nowhere to be found. Instead, Fulcrum tried to go for a flank, and now they will get it. Big Daddy does drop as well. A 1-for-1 thus far in this battle.
Ooh, absolute. Royal taking a lot of damage, though. He needs to back up with his T-69, and shots will be traded. I do have to say, a lot of shots have been traded so far, and a lot of misses so far coming out from Bear Huggers.
Wow,
Well,
Friction empties his clip. Everyone's on reload. Bonzoid's down to 118. And it looks like Getty's actually coming around for a flank here, but he's going to meet Absolute, Hugo, and Soviet, who I fully expect are going to engage and just destroy him in a second.
Hugo's getting pretty low. The T-69 has one more shot, and he lands it, but Getty has to get out of there before the members of Fulcrum can drop him. A missed shot there from Hugo. Soviet trying, or Absolute rather, Soviet trying to finish it off, but Getty is going to get back up. This is good job from Getty to initiate a play and force out a lot of shots from Fulcrum.
Soviet is reloading, so 25 seconds. He will be oh wow, I don't think he'll be reloaded in time to live. Absolute's probably going to go down here, but he is reloaded. Shots coming out from Absolute in just a second.
Oh no, Ronnie Dangerfield, when combined with Getty, is able to finish off Soviet, has to get out of there, and all of a sudden, Fulcrum is down to 1 remaining Tier 8 tank.
Soviet will be reloaded right now. There it is.
Needs to make a big play, needs to land every single shot, needs to evacuate from the situation, but he doesn't manage to get the 3rd shot, does manage to hit Roy, and now Soviet is caught clipping, and he needs to somehow get out. But if he was able to finish off, look at how many weak members there are of Bear Huggers, 3 within 1 shot of killing by a T-69. And as a result, the last waning moments of the match will be in reflection of what could have possibly gone better. A lot of things from Fulcrum Gaming.
Oh yeah, they definitely dropped the ball on that fight. Nagatron was not able to hold off Bear Huggers long enough, and Bear Huggers made a very smart decision of pushing forward, destroying Nagatron, realizing that Fulcrum was split and that it was the exact moment they needed to push. Unfortunately for them, you know, there was some nice damage that went out, but you know, it's good job for Bear Huggers. It was very proper play out of them.
Fulcrum will try to initiate a cat with Relos and Xerox, but even 2 is not enough in this scenario, as they were down in about 25 seconds, forced by a reset by Bonzoid. Bear Hugger showing lots of life and able to capitalize with 3 members of their T-69s, all within 1 shot. If any T-69 hit them with a heat round, they probably would have dropped. Game number 3 goes to Bear Huggers, and they're showing lives. And maybe it's a sign, a start of a comeback.
Look at that icon. Let me love you. Didn't Mr. Bitter draw that?
Did Mr. Bitter draw that?
I think he did.
Sure.
He drew
I know
that.
Bear Huggers was a last minute entry because we couldn't get pub stars into the league. So if that was drawn by Mr. Bitter, I actually
it was.
very
Yeah.
Mr. Bitter was paid handsomely for that graphic, by the way. Handsomely.
Handsomely.
Well, I wonder what his hourly rate is.
I'd like to commission something. He could probably
I
do.
need to get Ben to make some of my logos as well.
Yeah, I
Florian
know.
logo
That's a
would
pretty
be
good
nice.
logo. Look at the bear. It's like, hug me, love me, please.
You know, I always thought that it was that they love to hug the bears, but it turns out that it's the bears that like to hug the people instead. Well, regardless of what happens, Bear Huggers showed a lot of life in that battle on Abbey. It was a really quick game. Let's go ahead and take a commercial break, and when we come back, battle number 4 between Fulcrum and Bear Huggers. Welcome to Airfield. On the eastern side of the map, as you can see in the mini-map, is the red team, one of the most decorated North American teams in World of Tanks. It is Fulcrum Gaming.
Yeah.
And over towards the western side, Randall, would you like to do the introduction?
No, it's fine. I was just going to talk about how much I liked the opening Fulcrum had, and then Bear Huggers here. What is going on there?
Well, they're taking a trip to the beach. Yeah. They got their sunglasses, they got their mojitos.
Gotta have sunscreen.
And their boarding shorts. Yeah, they brought their sunscreen.
Don't want to forget your sunscreen. I mean, pasty white nerds gonna have a sunburn if they don't wash themselves.
Yep. The redder the hair, the redder your skin will be, is usually the ratio goes.
Yeah.
They're gonna lead the charge with Bonzoid from Bear Huggers, who's the blue team over on the west side. But they've been spotted.
Oh yeah, everyone is lit. I see 5 tanks lit. Is that 5 tier 8s? I see 1390, T69, T60. Oh, yep, that is all 5 of them. Frizzled leading the way. Oh, 2 hits going out. Roy's gonna get tracked there.
And that's gonna force him to burn a kit or at least do something. Relics, great job, pretty much already the MVP of the team, as Roy does drop to a shot from Absolute Roy on Relics, trying to hightail out of there.
Oh,
he does manage to get taken out, but it's gonna come at a nice trade. Getty is also under fire from Soviet, and Soviet is able to secure a very nice lead for Fulcrum. The cap has begun for Bear Huggers. They're gonna try to do this really quick, but Fulcrum is almost in position to stop it, as only 40 seconds is more than enough time for Fulcrum to get back.
Oh yeah, Soviet is already on cap. Nagatron is here, so is Friction. Absolute Royal seconds out. Hugo is getting here just now. All of Fulcrum is ready for this fight. Frizzled and Colonel Angus are hiding behind destructible buildings, so I'm expecting Hugo just to kind of drive in here, smash these buildings.
Yep, Frizzled, Angus taking big damage like you mentioned. Nagatron and Absolute Royal finish off. Angus, Frizzled and Bonzoid, the last remaining members from Bear Huggers of the Tier 8 platoon, is going to drop, and Fulcrum has completely swarmed their enemies. Bear Huggers won't have anything. They only have a couple of T1s, as the incoming end of moments are going to happen on Airfield. Really interesting, again, that Fulcrum is choosing Airfield as one of their go-to maps when they lose.
Yeah, it's really strange. I think it's because most teams don't have a lot of experience on Airfield. My experience on Airfield is very slow, and when you see it play very slowly all the time, it's hard to learn how the map develops in a 742, and I don't think a lot of teams are actually got a lot of experience in 742 on Airfield. So it's one of those, if you feel you're more experienced on the map, you pick it, and you know that you can win, that kind of thing.
Perhaps.
And it looks like that Fulcrum had the better coverage. Bear Huggers tried what they could on water side push. Yeah, probably not the best idea, seeing as the water side slows you down so much.
Yeah, but also that could be why it's such a out of left field strategy that could have worked. But again, have to kind of tip my hat to Relics. Sure, he died, but it was most certainly for a worthy cause, as Relics was able to spot 5 of the 7 tanks from Bear Huggers, and they will drop this game. They will drop the series 1-3, as there's almost nothing they can do. Rodney Dangerfield and Big Daddy, I mean, they hypothetically, if they were given an infinite time, Randall,
yes,
they could win this game. But that's not going to be the case. Soviet's going to hunt down Rodney Dangerfield, and Big Daddy is going to be crying for his daddy over in C1. Fulcrum Gaming ends the series 3-1 and jumps up in the standings with 2-0.